The final division we're going to talk about is the NFC West, which is the most exciting division in football. It is the most exciting division in football at the minute. The Rams and the Seahawks are both 9-3. The 49ers are 9-4. Cardinals 3-9. Spoiler alert, I've got Cardinals win 7 games. So, that's still an okay season, I suppose, by Arizona Cardinal standards. But I know the Rams lost to the Carolina Panthers 28-31 after we went crazy about it over the weekend, of which, again, a lot of you watched it, which we're very, very thankful for. Like I said earlier, the San Francisco 49ers 26-8 beating the Cleveland Browns. The the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just beat out the Arizona Cardinals 2017. That was a really, really close game in the end. And Seattle demolished Minnesota Vikings 26-0. But obviously, no JJ McCarthy, and who they had whoever it was at quarterback. And I put in our group chat the name of the quarterback, and no one responded. So equally, none of you, my most knowledgeable friends within the NFL world, I feel anyway, had any idea who it was.
I think this is really bad of us. I think we did actually mention Mac Brosmer in the top 10 quarterbacks for the 25 draft. So I think if you go back to that video somewhere in the ether, you will find we did mention him. But I wouldn't be able
I
to tell
apologize
you
for anyone
where he
listening,
was.
but there potentially some drilling noise in the background, which is out in my street. I do apologize. I'm sure you'll pass. Sorry.
I can't remember who he played for.
Okay.
At college.
Well,
I can't remember.
he might be
But
on the
he,
Vikings, but he didn't play for them.
yeah. So it was. Look, I mean, you got to remember they were more willing to have Carson Wentz, who was clearly broken in many places, to continue rather than have him come out when they played. But where was that? Was that the Dublin game or was that the London game where he was a mess? I can't remember.
No, he was okay in Dublin Wentz. Like, he played
Maybe it
well.
was the London game he was struggling. No, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was when they were back, actually, thinking about it, back in America. But yeah, it was that's how little they wanted to play Max Brosmer. So that says a lot.
You chalk up another win for Seattle. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so mad that a division can have 2 teams that that everyone in the league admires. Like, but they just got it right everywhere, haven't they? Front office, great. Head coach, great. Quarterbacks, Stafford's way better. Is not way better. I suppose that's a stretch. Is both very good quarterbacks, both very good defenses, both really good run games. Have got one plus. Well, what Jackson Smith and Jigba and Puka Nakua, even though Devontae Adams seems to be the person that Matthew Stafford seems to be going to. They've both got an X factor receiver. They're so similar in so many ways, aren't they? I mean, is McDonald's head coach of the year? I mean, Seattle, they just drag you to a screen. You've got to watch them.
Yeah, they've been amazing all year, and I think again, like you say, we spoke a lot about the Rams last week, but one thing we said about the Rams was that they are the best sort of like all-round team. They've literally got everything going in all areas, and it's working out really well for them. Well, the next team, just slightly below them, I would say, is the Seattle Seahawks, where again they have got everything going for them. They've got the defense is incredibly strong, doing really well. The offense has looked on fire. Sam Darnold has looked a little shaky sometimes, but nothing significant really. And, even the special teams, they come up with big plays on special teams as well. And they've been doing it all season. It feels like it's going to continue and that they will just keep this going now until the end of the season because apart from playing against the Rams, nothing's really slowed them down that much. I mean,
It was only 21-19 against the Rams.
Yeah, it was just it kind of felt like the Rams defense did sort of slow them down to just field goals a lot of the time.
In
But
fact, their 3 losses was 17-13 the first week against the Niners, 38-35 against the Bucks in week 5, and then that week 11 lost to the Rams. I mean, they're close games. I said this for ages about Minnesota when they went on their winning streak. They turned from a team that the close games, they started to win them close games.
Yeah.
And that can really turn everything. It can turn everything. If you're 5-10 and you look at like 10 of them losses and 4 of them you could have won, 5 of them coming off, and you go, well, then we could have been 9-win team. Yeah, it is game of fine margins. You look at, I mean, just to pick out some close games, beat the Cardinals by 3, lost to the Niners by 4, sorry. Beat the Cardinals by 3, lose by 3 to the Bucks, beat Jags by 8, lose to the Rams by 3. I mean, there's a few, and then they have some blowout ones. They have some, 44-22 beating the Cards, 26-0 against the Vikings over the weekend, 44-13 against the Saints. Okay, you can sort of go, well, people are putting. I don't think you can go, well, who they beat. They beat the Bucks. They didn't beat the Bucks. They lost the Bucks. They beat the Jags. They beat the Texans. They beat the Vikings, which are a viable team. I know their quarterback problems, but they are a viable team. I think Rams and the Hawks are the most trustworthy teams in the NFL. And then what's weird is you have the Niners who are in there, who almost I feel like a little bit untrustworthy because I'm just not sure, again, like them with the Jags. They've got some really elite everywhere, but they haven't been elite all season. They've obviously had the problems with the quarterback. Is Mac Jones better than Brock Purdy? That's a question, but people could maybe asking. And Brock Purdy's value at the minute is skyrocketed. But you look on the Niners side of it, they beat the Hawks. They beat the Rams in overtime. They beat the Giants. The Giants is a good defense. They beat the Browns. The Browns are a really good defense. Like they have maybe a bit more notable wins, I suppose. Just the Niners. It's just the being so banged up, but they do seem to be getting. They've got these crazy unknown guys on their defense at the minute, but are performing, and it shows you when you have an organization that is just like head to toe class. That's what you get, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that like all 3 of them really. The kind of they've just got all of it. They've got it going. Everything is working as one. Everything is moving in the same direction, and they're all playing really, really well. And the only thing that you're seeing that is the difference between the 49ers and the other 2 is that the 49ers are just a wreck. With injuries, that's just what they are, and they've lost so many players at certain times, and you can see, and that's what's caused the problem, because when you actually look at it, the teams they've lost to, they've not been like they've not been bad teams. They haven't lost to a bad team. The Jaguars are kind of a bit, especially week 4, they were a little bit hit and miss.
And only lost by 5.
Yeah, so it's a bit unfortunate. But then you lose to the Buccaneers, good team. Another team themselves have suffered from really bad injury. But at the time, they weren't too bad then, and it's like did okay. Lost to a Texans defense, which we have just been praising about how good they are, especially against the run. Losing to the Rams, another team in this division that's amazing. So they haven't lost to a team that you would say is a bad team. They've gone out and they've basically taken care of business against the poorer teams with the Saints and the Cardinals and the Falcons. And the Giants have got a decent defense, but have struggled on offense. And the Panthers and the Browns, and they've gone and beaten these teams. But also, they can beat good teams as well. They beat the Seahawks at the beginning. So, the 49ers they're a very good team. They're just too banged up all the time. And unfortunately for them, it has cost them their Super Bowl window, because what will happen is they'll end up playing against the Rams, against the Bucks, against the Texans, one of them teams, so some sort of team in the NFC, they will end up playing against, who are a good team and not as banged up, and that'll be the end of it.
So you don't. I think 3 teams will go to the playoffs here in this division.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that all 3 teams will end up in the playoffs because of their records. I think you've got 5 weeks left. I think you're probably looking at least 2 wins for each of them. So you're looking at least 11 wins. That's definitely going in. The NFC South is going to be whoever wins, and that's it. There's not going to be anything else from there. The NFC North, I think you probably end up with the two from the NFC North that go
Like
in.
Bears and Packers.
I think at the moment it's very much looking that way. And then obviously you've got the Eagles in the NFC East, and that's it. I think the Cowboys are just too far back for them to be able to get back in, purely because you're going to have these teams in the NFC West.
Yeah.
Two of them, I think, are going to be 11-win teams and are going
Yeah.
to be in the playoffs.
I think I've got two teams on 13 and one on 12.
Yeah.
I've got the Rams and Hawks going 13 and 4, and the 49ers going 12 and 5.
I mean, I think that's fair enough. They're absolutely blitzing them, aren't they? A lot of the opposition. The Seahawks are better than the Falcons, the Colts, the Panthers, and I think they are better than the 49ers, I have to say.
The Seahawks have got at Atlanta, hosting Indianapolis, hosting the Rams, at Carolina, at San Francisco. The Rams at Carolina, hosting Detroit, at Seattle, at Atlanta, and then hosting Arizona. And then the Niners got a bye week coming into this week, this weekend coming, sorry. And then they host the Titans, at the Colts, host the Bears, host the Seahawks. I mean, they only got to go on they only got to go on the road once in the next 4 games of the Niners. That's why I've got it so high there. Like, I think they could easily win 3 games. I think they could beat the Titans, beat the Colts, and potentially beat the Bears. Really, the Niners. I believe it. Like I said, I think if all 3 of these go 10+, which is incredibly likely, they all go in. They all go in, and
I think they definitely both win 2 games.
Say again.
I think they definitely, like all 3 of them, I think definitely both win 2 games. And if you're going to be on 11 and 6, you're going to be in.
Yeah, and that'll be. I mean, when was the last time that happened?
Yeah. I mean, the Seahawks have struggled, haven't they, for quite a while? Obviously, it's all been about the 49ers, hasn't it, for the last few years in the NFC West. So I think it's been a while since this has happened. But yeah, I mean, it's looking like a very strong division, and it'll be surprising if they don't. I also think once you reach the playoffs, no one's going to want to play any of them.
Do you think that one of these 3 teams will make the NFC Championship?
Well, I mean, I predicted the Rams to win the Super Bowl. So,
well, no, I was going to say, do you think one of these 3 will get to the Super Bowl? But really, it's more that will they get to the championship, I suppose. But I suppose Super Bowl. But by the law of averages, one of them probably will be in the NFC Championship.
I actually think. I mean, the NFC is a very when you look at it, it feels like the Rams and Seahawks are the 2 teams that are the most all-round teams. I think the Packers have got themselves in a position where if they play like they played against the Lions on Thanksgiving, then they are with them. I think that's what you're dealing with. The Eagles are struggling at the moment. Offensively, they're just struggling. It's not really working.
I mean, the Bears are running their luck a bit.
The Buccaneers are banged up, and I just don't think that the Bears are. Firstly, I think they're where they are because of who they've played, but also I think they're just kind of on a bit of a run, and eventually they're going to hit a tough defense, and that will be the end of them. Yeah. So it feels like on the NFC that's the 3 big teams that could potentially be the 3 big teams are the Rams, the Seahawks, and the Packers. It wouldn't shock me at all if the NFC Championship game was the Rams against the Seahawks. I
mean, I feel like that would be what we'd want that to be our Super Bowl in a way. That'd be such an electric game, and it's going to be really fun to see how the NFC West progresses over the next few weeks.
Yeah,